people don't realize there's so many talented, so many talented producers that make so many hits, and it's crazy to see some of their credentials, So I love learning. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's everything. Like I'm so thankful for the producers I've worked with, and I owe a lot to them, like Cause and Mike Wise and John Levine. Like they do a lot of the heavy lifting and the sonic profiles, and it's just I'm nothing without my producers. Yeah. Although I'm producing now myself, but still, it's nice to have like a balance of energies in the room that can kind of, your weaknesses and strengths can kind of balance out the project.
Let me ask you, between singing, songwriting, producing, which one would you say is the most difficult or challenging?
Producing. I mean, I love producing, but it's like I'm the type of person that I'm like a perfectionist, so it takes me a lot longer to sit in and produce than it does for me to write and sing. Obviously, singing's fun, but I enjoy like the 360, the whole process, the sitting down and writing, the figuring out the production, and then going on stage and performing. Like when you're involved the whole way, it feels really cool. Like I've cut other artists' songs before, and where I've only been like the voice, and honestly, like it doesn't do it for me. I just like, okay, great, like that, it's fun, but for me personally, I really enjoy the whole process. It just feels more real to me.
Okay, so we could say you're a triple threat. I think you're almost maybe kind of a quadruple threat, because you're learning to dance a bit, and I'm bringing up dance. There's a reason why. Yeah. Take Me Home, which was back in 2020. I don't know if we call it an album, an EP.
It was an EP. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I signed with Ultra Records after Hollywood Records, and we put out that EP.
So you released Take Me Home in 2020. One fun fact that I learned that I love about this, the song I Don't Want to Dance. You were taught to dance by Kaisa's choreographer for that video?
Yeah, Luba. She's incredible. Yeah. Thank God.
I love that Canadian connection, because, Kaisa, of course, and you. So how did that happen?
Yeah, so when I signed with Ultra and we were thinking about the first single, I Don't Want to Dance, we were talking about different videos and looking at different treatments. And I really liked the treatment from this particular director, but it was very involved with dancing and choreography. And I've done some dancing. I worked on my first video, Every Red Light. I worked with a choreographer down in LA for that. And that was a lot of fun. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to do a dance video, I want a really good choreographer, because great choreographers makes my job so much easier. And so we tapped on Luba's shoulder. I think she knew the producer or the director, and she flew up from New York to Toronto, and I got to work with her for only a day, really. And then I had to go do my homework, and I was literally in the hotel room. I did like 115 takes, because I wanted, every time I did my routine, I recorded it, because for me, I'm a visual person. I wanted to see how I was and how I was lining up. And I'm a perfectionist as well. So I didn't want to, like, when the cameras are rolling, I didn't want to feel like I was thinking about the steps. And like, I have so much respect for dancers and choreographers. And like, when you watch Dancing with the Stars, what they do every week, holy crap. Like it's so demanding. It's so much work, especially if you're not familiar with it. And I'm just very thankful Luba was there to kind of help me literally step by step. But I did put in a lot of work just to get that little part that's in the video.
That's amazing. I appreciate you telling me that. But I don't know if this was like this is something purposely you did, or if this was with the producer or people with the music video. But at the end of this, it's really towards the end of the song where you start dancing. And it's only once you go beyond the walls that you start dancing with the other dancers. Was that like a metaphor for you kind of breaking down the wall and just being free, or not worrying anymore and just dancing? Like, that's what I took away from that.
That's good. I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't honestly, like, no, well, I mean, it was like the song's like, I don't want to dance unless you want to. So like, it was like basically because we were focusing on those dancers on their own to begin with. So it's like, you don't expect me to come out and dance. So it was kind of established that, okay, there's energy, these two incredible dancers. And so, I kind of broke that fourth wall, so to speak, because I was just kind of singing and doing my own like broody thing before that. And then I came and,
Funny. It's funny because like I remember when I was looking into that and I read about he danced. I'm like, okay. I'm watching the video. I'm like, where's the dance? I'm like, okay, thank God it happened. I was like, it would have been really awkward if there was no dancing. It was like just you like shuffling. But anyways,
yeah.
But no, besides that, Good Love and Deeper, like really good tracks. Definitely more of a electronic sound, I guess you could say. And you've really kind of followed up with that with even one of your latest songs, Out of My Head with the Banker Boys.
Yeah.
You seem to be leaning more into that. I don't know if electronic, if you want to call it sound, is that purposely or is that just something you're exploring more?
Yeah, it was truthfully, yeah, I was in treatment for cancer when I got the call from the Baker Boys saying, "Hey, we want to put this song out," and I was like, honestly, yes, please, because I need something to to exist right now and to get music out there. Like it was really at that point in my life, I was just like, geez, I don't know if I'll be able to sing again. And when I was approached for the Banker Boys, it was a song I had written with them a year ago in LA. And they're like, we love this song. We want it to be our first single. Are you cool if we put it out? I was like, let's go. Why not? And so that's kind of how that came about.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, let's fast forward again a little bit. And you just mentioned, and you posted a couple videos now about it about a week ago. I believe it was January 29th, 2023. You were diagnosed with tonsil cancer.
Yeah.
Obviously, life-changing, just obviously.
Yeah.
Everything just stops at that moment. I don't know. You put out a couple videos, but for people who haven't seen them, can you just talk a little bit about that time of your life?
Yeah, it was about this time last year, actually. Mm-hmm. So last year, this time, I was just finishing like a solo tour. It was not really a tour; it was like 3 shows where I went to Vancouver Island, and then I did one in my hometown. It was just me and a grand piano, and it was really great. I was doing all these songs with just me and a grand piano. It was so intimate, and the arrangements were a lot different than what you hear on radio and on Spotify and whatnot. So I was really focused on that, and then the holidays came up, and I noticed I had like this bump on the side of my neck on Christmas Eve, and then in January, I was like, well, I should make an appointment and get this checked out, and did an ultrasound, and they discovered like this mass in the side of my neck on January 12th, and so I started, freaking out, like, why is there like a 4-centimeter mass in my neck? But I had a show coming up, and it was sold out, and I didn't want to like miss it, and so I talked to my doctors. I was like, is this something I need to like do ASAP, or can I wait a week? And they're like, well, if we do a biopsy, it's going to take at least 10 days to get the results anyways, so why don't you do your show, come back the next day, we'll do the biopsy, and we'll know what's going on then. So I went into that show in my hometown, and I kind of knew then that I had cancer, but it wasn't confirmed, and so I really approached that show like it potentially could have been my last, and it was just like a really, really an emotional show, but it was like one of my, like, I left it all on stage that night, and after that night, I almost like literally passed out. Like I was starting to feel like more symptoms, not like more than just the bump on my neck. Like energetically, I was really drained. I was getting lightheaded, and I found out why I was getting lightheaded after. So then I went back on the biopsy, and then 10 days later, I got the call, January 29th, Shawn, it's cancer. And that's like, wow. That's when, my whole world, as I knew it, changed. And career went on hold, obviously. And it was a matter of like, okay, what kind of cancer? How treatable is it? What's the prognosis? And then kind of went from there. But yeah, I found out it was, I didn't know what type of cancer it was at first. But eventually when I got the surgery, there were like 5 tumors, and they were wrapped around my artery and one of my nerves that controls my arm. And so the reason I was kind of getting lightheaded was like was constricting blood flow to my brain. And then thankfully the surgeon, who's incredible, Dr. Prisman, was able to like navigate, but he had to cut the nerve in order to remove the tumors. And unfortunately, like I've lost the function of this, but which is nothing in the big picture. And then then I had to get chemo because 5 of the tumors, 2 of them broke out, and there was some microscopic cells that could have been left over, and I had to get radiation as well. So it just took me out, and I'm just thankful I had the most incredible doctors, nurses, support network, friends, family, like to get me through it, because it's one of those things you never ever want to go through in life, and so many people do every day. And that's one thing I realized too, like there's so many people at the cancer agency every single day getting treatment, and there were people getting sent to the US because the radiation rooms were full, and it just really it just opened my eyes to so much more, and I have such an appreciation for so many more things now because of that experience. And you never know what someone else is going through. So I'm just thankful and grateful to be on the other side.
Absolutely. No, thank you for sharing that. Since all that happened, has that changed just like your songwriting or like the topics that you write about? Because, obviously people, as they grow up, they mature, their topics of their songs change. So because of that happening, has that kind of shifted what you're writing about, how, like what you're doing or what you're singing, or no? Or
yeah, I mean, totally. Like getting back into music after that, it was kind of it was intimidating for me because I didn't want to have pressure on myself to go write like the best song of my life, or just to jump back in without really writing about my experience. So I kind of took my time until I felt like I was getting inspired to write again. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm not writing for a label. I'm not writing for anybody else. I'm gonna sit in my living room and write a song. And if I record it and put it out, cool. If I don't, cool. Like I just need to like get this out. And like I said earlier, I'm a very emotional person, and there was just so much built up in me after all that. So one day I moved here as well in September after there was a lot going on in my life, and just going to the hospital every day, and just like there's just so many, like a lot of people are like, oh, you must be writing so much. I was like, honestly, like between hospital visits and just like figuring out if you're going to be okay, like it's not the headspace you want to be in to write music. So I kind of had to get over that, and once I was in the clear and remission, I kind of mentally was able to dive back in. And so I wrote a couple songs based on my experience, and I just wanted to write them solo, and then one of them is going to be on the new EP, and I also produced it as well. It's called Pick You Up, and it was basically about the people who helped me in my darkest hours, and it just was really something I wanted to put out there. So
okay. And then of course, about that. Last few days you've been teasing another song that's going to be on just bigger than the night. Can you again, which coming out on the January 26th, so very soon, like a week basically, or a week, I guess, right? It's the next Friday, I guess.
It's Friday, the 26th.
You know what, like I understand like why on Friday, but it's like I feel like other artists should just release like whenever they want, like Monday or Tuesday when it's quiet and no one else releases it. Am I crazy? No, I don't know.
New Music Friday, it's a thing, right? So it's Friday's the day.
Okay, but no, can you just talk? I don't know. I usually don't go with what everyone else says. I beat to my own drum. That's just me. But, can you?
I'm with you. I'm with you in general.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. But no, can you just talk again, Bigger Than the Night? You teased it a bit, but just if you can talk a bit more about the song and what it means to you.
Yeah. So I wrote this song actually at the end of kind of the pandemic. It was a Zoom session with a writer and producer in Nashville, Aaron Shoffin and Devin Guisand. It's an Italian name, so I can't pronounce his last name. But it was a great session, and I remember producing the vocal demo and feeling like really excited about the song. But it's really tough, like to go from like a vocal piano demo and having a vision for the production, how it will sound with more instrumentation, and actually getting there. Like that's one of the hardest things to do. And sometimes a song lives by itself with just vocals and simple production, but sometimes you need more. You don't need more elements to really carry it. And so there was a couple of producers that took stabs at it, and I just felt in my gut that it wasn't there. It just wasn't right. And I was with a different situation at that point, a different label, and unfortunately that ended up not going to plan, so to speak. So I kind of had to like reset my whole entire year that I had spent writing and recording these songs. And then I got sick. And so it was like, oh my goodness. So like what's like, so I basically have a body of work that was ready to go. And I met a producer down here before I got sick. I met a producer, Mark Schick, through Cause actually. And he'd been working with Cause on Haley Steinfeld's album. And he just finished producing Dua Lipa and Elton John. He co-produced that song, Rocket Man. Or it wasn't Rocket Man, it was the one that was like the cover of Rocket Man. And Troye Sivan. And so I'm like, man, you've worked on some incredible stuff. And I played him the demo, and he's like, dude, I love this. I'd love to work on it. So thankfully Mark came on board and produced it, and I was stoked with what he did. And then I called John Levine, the producer I work with a lot, and I did vocals at his studio here in LA. And then I went back to Canada, and then eventually I got sick, and so the project never came out. And so now it's like I'm finally feeling better again. And this song itself is about like making a moment last and wanting to cherish something more than just a moment. And that's hence Bigger Than the Night. So I'm excited about this one.
Is there a music video for that one?
There is. It's gonna be different than any music video I've done. I've already shot my part. And we did it in Vancouver in an animation capture studio. So I was like in one of those motion capture suits, and I did like 3 performances, and we had 2 dancers do performances. And so it's literally going to be in the digital world. So I'm really excited for that. The director is incredible, and so he's working on it now. So I've seen a couple of the clips, and it's pretty cool. It's different. But it's exciting.
No, it's unique, different. It stands out. Why not? That's awesome. So after that comes out on the 26th, then what are we doing after that? Are we putting out a few more singles the rest of the year? Because I know singles that's the plan for most artists. It's not albums anymore, really.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I have like 5 songs ready to go, and we're going to be releasing the second single obviously sometime in the spring, and then the EP and a third single after that, probably right before the summer. And that's the plan for now. But I'll be dropping more information once we lock it all in.
I know. Listen, I know. I kind of recently started helping another artist with their social media, and I'm sure. Well, I'm curious with you because I know a lot of artists not complain, but they would rather focus on their music than having to worry about posting and social media. Do you feel that way as well, or do you don't mind all the social media stuff?
I'm like kind of OCD, and like I get obsessive compulsive with whatever's in front of me. So like it's hard. It really is hard for me to like juggle everything and have something not suffer from the lack of focus, so to speak. So like if I'm gonna write, I prefer to write and not do anything else for like a month, because I know once week 2 rolls around, I'm like in my zone. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to worry about socials. I just want to focus on my art, my craft. But when I'm like editing a video or reel, I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is cool. And I'll sit down and like, I'll get into it. And it's like, oh, I want to do this more. And that is fun. But my brain is just so like, it's hard just to like do it all without something suffering. So I'm working on that. And like social media is such a huge thing, especially with TikTok and everything else. So, yeah, so I always want to be perceived as authentic and genuine. And that's sometimes what I struggle with TikTok and trends and just like pandering, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want to pander to my audience, but to each their own. And I'll figure out a way to put myself out there that aligns with who I am as an artist.
Yeah. No, and that's fair. And listen, it's okay for you or any other artist to say like, I fucking hate this. Because I get it. And, so it's like, even when I'm helping these other guys, I'm like, I don't want to come off as pushy, but it's like, you kind of have to do it, but that's what I'm here for, to help you.
Yeah.
but I get it. So, by the way, someone was asking, are you feeling well enough to do some live shows when the EP comes out?
Yeah.
Will you do some live shows?
Totally. Yeah, I'm ready to sing now. I've been practicing and singing and recording every day. So yeah, I'm actually doing a show on March 5th here in LA. That's my first official show on the books, but hopefully we'll get a tour going right before summer. But it's in the works for now.
Awesome. No, well, and thank you so much, and thank you for sharing everything. I'm glad to see and hear that you're doing better, and just looking forward to more music. And thank you.
Yeah, John, thank you. I appreciate you following up, and let's do this again down the road, and I'll keep you posted on when releases are coming up.
Sweet. All right. Have a good night, man.
Thanks, John. See you later.